I mean, every example was yesterday, and we need 21st century solutions by somebody who is inspiring and smart and concerned and I think knows who he is and just is truly somebody that understands what America can do and gets it in terms of the connection between domestic and foreign policy. So I think we're very, very lucky. And on issues that I think probably matter to this audience, I was just asked what I think of Sarah Palin. And my answer is, it is not a question of gender, it's the agenda. And I think that the agenda is what we have to think about. And in terms of the issues that are important to the women of America, working, intelligent women of America, is that there needs to be better issues on pay equity, on health care, on the capability of after-school good services, a respect for working women, a capability of understanding that we want to contribute to society and that we play a very important role. And I have a lot of issues always in kind of talking about women's issues. All issues are women's issues. And actually, the harder they are, the more they are. And, you know, when you were saying I was the first, which indeed I was, the question was, you know, can women do national security? Actually, we spend more time worrying about people's security than anything else. And so I think that you know, while we kind of talk about women's issues, all issues are our issues. And we need a president who understands really what the agenda is and the extent to which we all want our economy to work. We want to have America play a really responsible role. We want to be able to raise our children in an America that is safe and good and true to the principles that we established, which is that every individual counts. So I'm thrilled to support Barack Obama. I really am, and I hope very much that you all are getting out there and registering people, and really, I'm so impressed, I have to say, with the Obama ground forces. I mean, it's a really very, very well organized campaign, and with great, great enthusiasm, and I think that's important. So I'm happy to answer questions about whatever you want. Whatever questions, yes.
How do you feel that foreign countries, in particular Europe, how do they see McCain versus Obama as candidates?
You know, what's interesting, I have had some connection with surveys that are done by the Pew Trusts, and they have just come back with Obama. First of all, what I think is interesting, the world wants America's leadership. They basically, it's just that America's leadership has been wanting. So they do want a different president, there's just no question. Obama is very popular. They want Obama. Now, frankly, it's being played kind of negatively by some saying, well, if the Europeans want Obama, why would we want Obama? The bottom line is we want Obama because they understand that we can work with them on issues that are important to us. So I think there is a great sense. I was at the convention, and I'm chairman of a very interesting organization called the National Democratic Institute, which is kind of the international arm of the Democratic Party. And we do a lot of work abroad in, as I said, promoting and supporting democracy. And so maybe some of you don't know, because I didn't know this before, there are a lot of foreign visitors that come to our convention. And so to see, and so since 1984, NTI has been putting on programs, kind of panels, that explain what's going on to the foreigners. We had over 500 foreign visitors this time, the biggest number. And you could just tell, we got them in kind of one block at a time into the convention, and then had meetings afterwards, very excited about him. And just a sense that this was right. I think some of them went to the Republican convention, but they didn't get the same pizzazz. Yeah, very much so. And it's interesting I travel abroad a lot, and I think they really is this feeling that he represents the best of America in terms of his enthusiasm, his brain, his capability of multitasking, his ability to face 21st century problems. And I think the real issue here is we are looking at a 21st century that didn't start out the way it should, or didn't, and there are many, many issues, and the 20th century was the bloodiest century in our history, and in world history, and the 21st century has to be looked at differently, and Barack Obama, I think, has the sole capability to do that, no matter how respected John McCain is. I think that's the...
Yeah.
Madam Secretary, could you please talk a little bit about China and the kind of stakeholder they are in this process?
I think if you look at the issues that I outlined, those 6 big umbrella issues, just by virtue of what they are, you can see that we can't do them by ourselves. You can't fight terrorism or nuclear proliferation, any of those by ourselves, no matter how strong we are, or how great our military is, and our military is great. And the question is how you get other countries to help in these issues. So one of the things, and it's what I kind of put under the rubric of a 21st century approach, is you have to work with other countries. It's just what it is. We can't afford to be back in a Cold War, nor can we be into the axis of evil or all the kind of we versus them stuff that the Bush people have done. And so we have to consider what countries are out there that we have to work with. China, every time anybody talks about China, they attach the adjective rising. I mean, it has a huge economy, obviously a growing population, and they are playing an increasing role. And the question is how to have them play a responsible increasing role internationally. And which means spending time with them and talking to them and telling it like it is on issues that we don't like, on human rights and religious persecution, but in terms of getting cooperation from them. They have actually been quite helpful on the issue with the North Koreans on the nuclear issue. And interestingly enough, they did not agree with what the Russians had just done in Georgia. And people might have thought they are a problem in terms of some of the issues on Darfur or on Iran, but I think it means we have to work with them. I think the issues now, they have some serious problems at home, and there is also a growing gap between the rich and the poor there. They have brought a lot of poor up from total poverty, but there's a huge disconnect between those people that are in the countryside and those who come into the cities. They have infrastructure issues, which we saw in the earthquake. They now have all the disastrous food safety issues. They are firing people, and some people, have committed officials. So they have some very serious problems. We can't just think they're, not sailing through everything. We compete with them for energy. They are out there looking for energy sources. So my feeling about them is we need to understand that we need them on a source of issues. We don't want to turn them into an enemy, and we have to figure out how to be able to do something. In foreign policy, when it's a difficult relationship, you say it's multifaceted. So this is a multifaceted relationship in terms of the various parts. And it requires leadership from the American part is to understand where we cooperate and where we push back. But we have to look at India. India is another country, huge democracy that we have to deal with. We have to figure out how to have a different relationship with Russia. We don't want to go back to the Cold War. I mean, the statements that John McCain was making after Georgia were counterproductive, I think, in many ways. Obama made very clear that what the Russians had done was a bad idea, but kicking them out of the G8 or whatever, I think that what needs to happen is the kind of sophistication and understanding that Obama has of how to be able to kind of tailor the relationship to what our needs are. We have to do something.